Hi, I'm In Denial, and today we're going to be taking a look at the best guns within the medic class in Battlefield 5. Now, I haven't personally seen any medical staff with submachine guns near me, but I can't wait for it to happen. It's the future. Let me know down below what occupation you can't wait to see start using guns, and if you enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content just like this. Anyway, we're going to kick things off with the sten. The sten is the first gun that is available to you when you start and makes for a great beginner's SMG. In fact, they're so beginner friendly, the US government is thinking of using them as standard issue for all teachers in case of, you know. That was a lie, but anyway, you'll find that it is on the lower side when it comes to rate of fire at 540 rounds per minute, and so may not be the best gun for an aggressive playstyle. That being said, if you've got the drop on your enemies, then you can easily bring your foes to their knees while you pump your load into their bodies. With bullets, of course. The sten works best at short to mid range with a slight bias to mid range engagements, and actually remains pretty steady with very little recoil, and in fact, if you just tap shoot, the sten becomes quite effective at greater distances too. When it comes to specializations, I've got it set up in the right, left configuration. I've chosen the quick aim as I don't plan on being in any situations where I'm pressed for time and need to quickly reload, but if you want to play more aggressively with this gun, then you may want to opt for the quick reload instead. As most of my shots will be mid-range, I'm going to opt for aimed fire specializations for slots 2 and 3, and then finally I'm going with the recoil buffer as I personally prefer less vertical recoil as opposed to horizontal, but if you prefer less horizontal, choose the custom cockstop. Tailstop. How would I score it, you ask? Well, it's 10 from me. What the fuck am I doing with my life? Next up, the M3 grease gun. First introduced by Durex, the Loopmaster 3000 is a sneaky boy that was first unlocked in the War in the Pacific Tides of War chapter, but I didn't bother with that and purchased it last week. Again, a lower rate of fire at only 450 rounds per minute, but it does pack a little extra punch than the sten and only takes 3 bullets to kill versus the sten at 4. I'd say that this gun performs best at a range somewhere between short and mid-range, though like the sten, it can be quite effective at slightly longer ranges too. The M3 grease gun can work very well for those with an aggressive playstyle who also like to play strategically. This is especially true when you combine the M3 grease gun with the suppressor attachment, and then you can flank till your heart's content, you greasy bastard. With the suppressor equipped, you can pull off some very impressive flanks that allow you to get deep into enemy territory where you can do some real damage, all whilst remaining relatively undetectable. Now for specializations, I've chosen virtually the same as the sten, right and left. The only difference being, I've opted for the suppressor instead of the recoil buffer so I can be hella sneaky, like that burglar was in Oscar Pistorius' house. Moving swiftly on, the M1928A1, and that is the first and last time I'll be saying that gun's name because I don't read good. We'll instead refer to it as the Tommy because that's also what it is. Now, I love the Tommy and it probably ranks in my top 3 of the medic guns, and it's not because it's got a huge sack, but I mean, look at that bad boy. Anyway, the Tommy has a firing rate of 720 rounds per minute, so it's definitely one of the faster shooting guns in the medic class. And it is this firing rate that makes it a great choice for the aggressive player. Well, I mean play style, I didn't mean like the player was aggressive and would go home and beat his cat up if the girl he had a crush on said no to him at school even though he was such a nice guy, and even washed his balls just in case things were going to happen. Fucking Stacy, is what I assume that person would say. But yeah, its high RPM makes it perfect for the run and gunner, and with the addition of the extended mags in the specialization tree, you really can clear multiple enemies without having to reload. It works best at short range as the recoil is a little bit feisty, but that isn't so much of an issue when you're working in close quarters. Add to this that the hip fire on the Tommy is actually pretty decent and the recoil doesn't really play much into consideration at all. Don't get me wrong, you can still pick people off from afar, it's just that it isn't the Tommy's strong point. For the specialisations, I've gone with left, right, right and right. I went for the slings and swivels because if I'm running a flank and I should bump into an enemy, I can draw my weapon slightly quicker and hopefully win and carry on. Also, should I run out of ammo in a close quarter situation, I'll be able to switch to my secondary 15% quicker. Ideally, I would have then opted for the enhanced grips for even better hip fire, but I want extended mags, so I've instead gone for the custom stock, and to be honest, the hip fire is already plenty good enough. Next is the extended mags, which I think are an absolute must for the Tommy. It's also this that gets you the big old sack, and anyone who says they don't want a big sack is either a liar or lack the balls to fill said sack. And finally, the polished action to allow me to stay more accurate for longer in hip fire. Next, the M28 Con Tromboncino. It's a bit of a mouthful, which is what she said, and it's a bolt action carbine, which is also what she said, and frankly that worried me a bit. With it being a bolt action carbine, it makes for a great long range addition to the medic class. Taking only 2 shots to kill up to 75 meters, it's clear to see why this is a great choice for those who like to play a little more strategically and like to pick off opponents at slightly longer distances than that of the other guns in the medic class. With the specialisations that I've selected, it fires 100 rounds per minute, which for a 2-shot kill gun is not that bad at all. As I just mentioned, the M28 Con Tromboncino is definitely best suited to mid to longer range encounters, and though I'm sure you could make it work for an aggressive playstyle, it certainly is not best suited to this. For the specialisations, I've chosen right, 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 and then left. I chose the slings and swivels as I just don't really need to aim any faster, which was the other option, and should I encounter an enemy at close range, I can switch to my secondary quicker than how long it took for everyone to forget that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. I then went with aimed fire specialisations, as that is primarily how the gun will be used, and finished off with the machined bolt to allow me to get that second kill shot off much quicker, hopefully before the enemy finds cover. Now, time for the Type 2A. Like your mom, this thing puts out at a huge rate. Chill out, I'm talking about homemade apple pies and hand jobs. But I digress. The Type 2A has a huge RPM at 1028 and can mow down enemies quicker than Lindsay Lohan mowed down that pedestrian that one time. Because of this, the Type 2A is perfect for straight up aggression and also tactical aggression. Due to the massive RPM and the 51 capacity magazine when you have the extended mag specialisation equipped, the Type 2A is made for clearing rooms. Pair it with a smoke grenade to gain easy access and you've got a recipe for mass homicide right there. Yum yum, delicious. When it comes to range, the Type 2A is pretty limited to close quarters combat due to the relatively sharp drop off in damage as the distance from your target increases. The recoil may also pose an issue for longer ranged engagements. For specialisations, I've gone with left, right, right and then left. Faster shooting after sprinting, extended mags and more sustained accuracy whilst hip firing were the main considerations for me. These specialisations are tailored to an aggressive playstyle, so feel free to adjust them if you want. Although it will hugely hurt my feelings and I may overreact, don't even think I won't know either, because I'm right behind you. Ha ha, did you look? Ha ha, I'm such a joker. But seriously, I'll probably cry whilst I jack it if you change the specialisations. And finally, I think what is my favourite gun in the medic class is the Suomi KP/-31, or just Suomi to close friends. Whilst not the highest fire rate in the medic class, it is certainly up there. At 770 rounds per minute, the Suomi can sit motherfuckers down in a matter of milliseconds. It's perfect for the aggressive player who just wants to rush in, pump some chumps and then leave without ever calling back, apart from every now and then when you get lonely and your little buddy needs some attention. I mean, it's perfect for those with an aggressive playstyle. And very similarly to the Tommy and the Type 2A, it's a great flanker, which sounds rude but isn't. I don't think. Also like the Tommy and Type 2A, it isn't the best at longer ranges, but hey, it's unlikely that you'll want to be doing that with this gun anyway. It's far more a run, gun, shoot every fucker in sight type gun, so I don't think that's really an issue. For the specialisations, I've gone aggressive with left, right and right. And this configuration, in my opinion, brings the best out in the Suomi. It enables you to make moves around the map and dispatch of any unexpected enemies promptly should you sprint into them. You've got the fat mags because bigger is always better, and the sustained accuracy during hipfire because let's face it, who's got time for actual aiming? Fuck that shit. And that's it. I hope you found this guide helpful and maybe somewhat amusing. And if you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more content just like this.